Well, I am so excited to dive in today. I'm going to go ahead and just get started. This event is being recorded, so you'll be able to reference everything after the event as well. We have a lot to dive into today, and we have three fantastic speakers who I'm really excited for you all to hear their stories and their perspectives. Before we kick off, I do have a quick introduction from my end, so I will go ahead and start sharing my screen. To our panelists as well, I forgot to mention this in our chat just a moment ago, but if you want to turn off your screen when you're not speaking, I know that my eyes just like glaze over when I have to stare at the camera and I'm not speaking, so feel free to do that. So today, as you know, our event is on a spotlight on diverse owned and impactful travel businesses. If you're not familiar with Impact Travel Alliance, first off, my name is Kelly and I'm the founder and executive director of ITA. ITA is a global community and a nonprofit that's aimed at improving the world through travel. So what we do is we teach travelers how to explore in a way that has a positive impact on local communities and our environment. And we do this through educational events, online articles, and also the power of storytelling through our media network. It is almost the end of February now, and this is actually our 15th event this year. So we've been quite busy. And we are always looking for ways to connect with our community and really teach travelers how to explore sustainably, no matter where they are or what their travel style looks like. And especially in the age of the pandemic, thinking about travel from a frame point of thinking about how you can explore and embrace the joy of travel even when you're at home. I wanted to kick off with a quote today from Angela Davis, and I love this quote. She said that you have to act like it was radically possible to change the world, and you have to do it all the time. And I'd like all of you to keep this in mind as we're going through today's presentations and talking about these different businesses, and just keep it top of mind in terms of what your power looks like as an individual and how you can make small changes and small pivots in your actions on a day-to-day basis to really have a big positive impact on our world. I wanted to kick it off with a quick conversation on talking about climate justice and its relation to racial justice. So at Impact Travel Alliance, again, we really talk a lot about sustainable tourism, travel that has a positive impact on local communities, the environment, and our economy. And we talk a lot about how that's all connected. And oftentimes I think people hear about sustainable tourism and they think about eco-travel, or they hear about racial justice and they think about Black Lives Matter, and they're not necessarily thinking about how all of these things are connected. So I just wanted to kind of frame this as we move into today's conversation to think about how each of these components are interconnected. And some quick statistics here on the side. I, again, am speaking from, I live in New York City. I'm speaking from a perspective of someone who lives in the United States. And so for me, when thinking about diversity, what's really top of mind is Black lives. But especially as we've explored diversity and inclusion through talking with our global community, it's been a very interesting process to really hear different perspectives around the world and what diversity means, depending on who you are and where you live. So I'd love for everyone to kind of keep it top of mind what your definition of diversity looks like and how you can advocate for change within your own destination. And again, from my perspective, I am speaking from someone who is very much focused on ways to advocate for making sure that Black Americans are being prioritized in the messaging that I'm putting together for Impact Travel Alliance, as well as what my own actions look like. And again, as we move forward, intersectionality, I wanted to define this term. Intersectionality was coined in 1989 by Kimberly Crenshaw to describe how race, class, gender, and other characteristics intersect and overlap with one another. And I think that this is, again, really important to think about when we're framing these conversations around diversity and inclusion within the industry, within tourism, and really understanding how all of these things intersect, and how we don't have to think about saving the earth or thinking about racial justice and say we have to pick one or the other. All of them are connected, and really intersect and overlap with one another. I do have a book that I can highly recommend. It's called All We Can Save, and it is Truth, Courage, and Solutions for the Climate Crisis. It's edited by Ayanna Elizabeth Johnson and Catherine Wilkinson, and is a collection of essays from female identifying individuals around the world that talks about solutions for the climate crisis. And so if these concepts are new to you, this is one resource that I can highly recommend that's really great to dive deeper into and learn more about. Another tone that I wanted to, again, really just preface what our conversations look like is that this is a movement, not a moment. And so we need to make sure that our actions reflect that attitude. And one way that we can do that is through our purchase power. And all throughout the month of February, but of course, always we're talking about how by we Impact Travel Alliance, we guide our editorial conversations around how you can use your purchase power to advocate for change within the industry. So I wanted to highlight a couple of diverse owned impactful businesses before we dive in. The first of which is the Black Explorer. This is a beautiful magazine. It's self-published, and I have so much respect for Ella because she's put together what is really just a wonderfully designed and really rich piece of content. And I highly recommend it. And Ella is actually speaking at our March 4th event. So she'll be at our event next week, sharing a little bit more about her story. Again, maybe I should actually back up. So this month, in case you have not been following Impact Travel Alliance and what we've been talking about, we launched a challenge earlier this month to challenge our community to support diverse owned and impactful businesses. And we're asking our community to go out and to purchase something from a diverse owned business, really to analyze and look at who we're supporting when we're purchasing something from different businesses around the world, and examine what diversity looks like to us as individuals. And then once you purchase something, to come back and let us know how much you've spent. So these are a couple of ideas. We have a blog post that will be coming out as well that has all of these and more. Another business that I wanted to highlight is Indigenous Kitchen. And this is an online cooking show that is providing a platform to help disseminate Indigenous food recipes while helping eaters to recognize their impact on the planet and Native communities. I know from speaking with Catarina as well, who's one of our speakers today, I had the pleasure of going to Puerto Rico with ExplorEquity, which is her company. And we talked a lot about food systems and what those mean and how it relates to our interactions with the world and our interactions with the environment. And it's a really eye-opening experience to really look at what we're eating and examine that and think about how those choices have an impact on our world. So this is another really great business that I wanted to highlight. There's also the Oscar Wilde tours, and these are a series of live online tours and lectures that are led by top guides and writers on LGBTQ plus culture, history, and art. We led a virtual tour last year that was an LGBTQ focused tour. And what I find is really interesting, and I've worked with Urban Adventures in New York City. They have an LGBTQ plus tour here in New York City. And out of all of these experiences that I've seen and learned more about this history, I think it's so important for us to look beyond what we're traditionally told when we're growing up and learning about history, and look at those lesser told stories and really examine how they've influenced and shaped our culture. And far too often, someone looks at an LGBTQ tour and they say, I'm not gay, so that's not for me. And I think that that's something that we should really be shifting and thinking about, how we are choosing to go on different tours or buy different things and what our experiences look like, and really seek out stories that may look different than our own. Beyonder is another platform that I wanted to highlight. This one is new. It is a virtual travel platform where you can travel the world virtually or plan a future trip with Beyonder. And it is founded by Brittany Palmer, who is a bilateral amputee. And so again, all of these kind of, when you take them as a collection, they tell really different rich stories and experiences about ways that we can explore our world and look at it through a different lens than perhaps what a top 10 travel list tells us. And that's really what we're trying to highlight through this event today. And I am really excited to introduce our speakers. From left to right, we have Catarina, who is the co-founder of ExplorEquity, as well as the creator behind Blindish Latina. We also have Rebekah, who is an Indigenous artist, and she also has a really fantastic Airbnb experiences that she will tell you more about. And we also have Stephanie, who is the founder of the National Blacks in Travel and Tourism Collaborative. So each of these speakers will share a little bit more about them and their stories and their perspectives. And so without further ado, I'm going to let them jump in. And Rebekah, do you want to kick it off?
Yes, I can. Good morning, everybody. Tanse, thank you for joining us on this beautiful morning. I'm coming to you from Rocky Boy, Montana, which is located north central Montana, close to the Canadian border. And we are having really crazy weather here. So, so I hope everybody is safe where they're at. So my Indian name is Carrie Sweetgrass Woman, and my what we say colonized name is Rebekah Jarvey, and I'm a mom of a 15-year-old son named Royce, and I grew up traditional, and what that entails traditional in the Native American way is I grew up going to ceremonies and practicing my culture, such as singing, dancing, sewing, and beading. And I'm always happy to say that I'm fourth generation beader and sewer. My mom, or my great grandma taught my grandma, and my grandma taught my mom. And I'm currently teaching my son, who is fifth generation beader and sewer. And I happen to be one of the first Native Americans on Airbnb to host an online experience. And I started in December, and it's been a very good learning experience. I got to meet people from everywhere, and it's growing. And I have one today. I have a online experience tour, and the group is from California, a group of high school students. So I'm really excited about that, the online experience. And I was recently in a campaign with Airbnb, where a campaign is where they feature your experience. So there is 4 million people on Airbnb that host experiences. And so for Airbnb to reach out to me and have me as one of their campaigns was very great. Can I show my screen? I have I put together a presentation just I'm really like a visual learner.
You should have access at the bottom there should be a share screen button.
Okay. Let me see. Oh, yes, it's right here. Okay. Everybody could see my screen, right?
Yes.
Okay, awesome. So this is the experience when you pull it up on Airbnb. This is the first picture that you see, and it's priced at $8. And I didn't know how to price it, but I just wanted to make it affordable for everybody, and to just hang out and learn more about Indigenous fashion. And the main thing that I talk about is the ribbon skirts, and I talk about the history of them and how I started making them. And then also too, face masks, how I got into making face masks. As you all know, we're in the pandemic, and face masks became part of our everyday life. And also my son, he talks about what he makes, and he talks a little bit about what beading and the traditions are to him. And then I welcome private bookings because the times I offer, most of the time they don't quite fit with people's schedules, because I do have a 8 to 5 job. I work at my tribe. I'm the HR generalist. So usually like my times are in the evenings or on weekends. But if you want a time, I welcome private bookings. Like I said, today I took the day off from work so I could join you guys. And then also too, I have an Airbnb experience today, this afternoon. And so I welcome private bookings. Right now, this is a big issue in Indian country. And I'm throwing a couple of different terms out there for you, the viewers. I used Indigenous, I used Native American, and I used Indian. That's terms that we identify ourselves as tribal people, First Nations people. Those are all terms, and I want you to get familiar with them because some Indians or Native Americans, they prefer certain terms. Me, I accept all of it. I accept tribal, Indigenous, Native American, Indian, First Nations. I'm okay with all of it. But right now, what's plaguing our nation is the murdered and missing Indigenous people. We have the highest rate in the state of Montana right now of murdered and missing Indigenous women. And so the Emerson Center in Bozeman, Montana has this exhibit to bring awareness and showcase the artists. So there's 11 different artists, and I happen to be one of them. And we created artwork to bring awareness to murdered and missing Indigenous people. And this is my piece right here. And it's a mask. And that's kind of like my specialty is the face mask. And it's called Pematsuin. And that's a Cree term. And it's interpreted as the spiritual life mask. So if you get a chance, you could find more information on my website, RebekahJarvey.com. I have it right there. As soon as you go to my website, you could click the link and it will bring you to the Emerson Center website. And there's a YouTube video where you could watch the full exhibit, and it gives you a lot more information. So I just wanted to bring that awareness right now. And if you don't know what a ribbon skirt is, This is a couple of pictures of ribbon skirts that I made, and I'm having a giveaway on my social medias. I'm on all platforms, and my name is Rebekah Jarvey, and you could go and follow and like, and you could look for this flyer on my social media, and you could be entered into a chance of winning yourself a ribbon skirt. So in the Native American communities, that's part of our tradition, or part of our way of life, is to give away. And so it's really popular. And so for me to help my people, or that's the form that I do best, is I'll give away a ribbon skirt. I did it last year 2 times, and it was such a success, and everybody had fun. And so you could go to my socials right there, hashtag ribbon drip. And so I want to say thank you for joining us today. I'm excited to hear the other entrepreneurs, and I'm excited to be here with everybody. I've been telling everybody and sharing it on social medias. Right here is my website, RebekahJarvey.com. And like I said, on my website, you could find everything. You could find my Airbnb experience. You could find fashion. I sell face masks, ribbon skirts, different YouTube videos that I've been on. So yeah, so right here, this is my website, and being Indigenous is so beautiful. That's my slogan that I like to use. And right here, this is the exhibit at the Emerson Center. So you could just click on that link and it will take you right to the Emerson Center. Here's my different collections that I offer on my website, and a couple of masks. I highlighted this mask. I don't know if some of you saw it on social media. It's called the Night and Day mask. It went viral last summer, and that gave me my stardom to start my business. Here's some of the creations I created last year: ribbon skirts and ribbon pants. And my identity as a designer is I like to incorporate street style and with our traditions. My Instagram's connected different articles that I was on last year. And down here at the bottom, this is the Airbnb experience that I share and host. And if you click on that, then it will take you right to the Airbnb experience to book it. So I hope everybody has a great day, and I want to say thank you for having me today here to speak to you. I hope you all learned something, and it's really good to be here with you guys, and I hope to see you guys in the future. If it's on an Airbnb experience, or if you're purchasing something from my website. Thanks. Aho.
Thank you so much, Rebekah. So one of the things that I actually wanted to point out is that I had to do so much research to find Rebekah. So I'm so grateful that we were able to be connected. But in doing this research, I had to dig very deep. I had a very specific idea in mind of wanting to be able to connect with someone from an Indigenous community who we could also support right now in an era of digital travel. And one of the things that really was brought to my attention is that it's really hard for so many people in Indigenous communities. There's a lot of challenges around getting products up online, or having opportunities to set something up like an Airbnb experience. So I'd really like to stress to our audience that's one of the reasons why it's so important for us to seek out those experiences. They're not always right in front of us, but to look for them and then support them with our tourism dollars, because the more that we are able to support projects like Rebekah's, the more that we're able to create change within the industry and advocate for a more diverse and inclusive industry. Next up for our speakers, I believe I said that Catarina was going next. Whoever wants to jump in, feel free, Catarina or Stephanie. Catarina, perfect, thank you.
I'll go ahead and dive in. Great stuff, Rebekah. Thank you so much for sharing that. It was very fascinating, and I would love to explore how we might be able to support and amplify what you're doing through our work as well. Hello, everybody. I'm Stephanie Jones, and I am a serial social entrepreneur. I've been an entrepreneur for the past 21 years as a marketing and business strategist. I've worked in various industries such as construction, arts and culture, travel and tourism, health, education. I pivoted full-time into travel and tourism about 8 years ago. I call myself a serial social entrepreneur because although I've started several businesses over the past 21 years, both for-profit and nonprofit, all of my businesses tend to have a social cause or social purpose because I'm always driven to make an impact in the lives of other folks, especially those that represent underserved communities, whether it's businesses, whether it's single moms, those are my passion projects. And so I've been really excited about the work that I've been doing over the past 8 years in travel and tourism. And then most recently in 2020, when I founded the National Blacks in Travel and Tourism Collaborative, BTT for short. BTT is actually powered by the Cultural Heritage Economic Alliance, which is a 501c3 nonprofit based out of Washington, D.C. And the work that we do is all around, well, for CHEA, the Cultural Heritage Economic Alliance, is really about how do we work with those local microcultural heritage businesses and attractions to help amplify them so that they are active participants in their local tourism ecosystems, and how do we work with destinations to make certain that they are more diverse and inclusive of those local small businesses and attractions, and also that they are being intentional and mindful about how they market to Black travelers. And so that's what we do through CHEA, but more specifically through BTT. The work that we do is about leveling the playing field and advancing Blacks in travel and tourism, whether it's Black businesses, whether it's Black professionals or students that are really seeking to access opportunities to excel and advance in our community. And so really for the past, I would say 3 years, we've been launching different technology platforms to do just that, to level the playing field so that Black and brown travel and tourism businesses can be found by inbound travelers, can access opportunities that will really help to amplify their products and their services. So I'm going to share my screen, if I can do that, Kelly, and just kind of share our 2020 year in review. Some of the work that BTT was engaged in 2020, and now we're really implementing a lot of the projects that we started working on in 2020, and we're launching them in 2021. So I'm really excited about some of these projects I'm going to share with you, but I'm equally excited about the level of interest and support from the industry at large in wanting to help amplify the work that we do, because the travel and tourism industry in the US has not been diverse and inclusive or equitable, since its existence. And I think last year when we had the Black Lives Matter movement and the George Floyd murder and all of the social and racial injustices that have now been brought to the light. Not that they've been hidden, but I think COVID has really amplified a lot of things in our country and in our industry. And so that has really brought attention for industry players across the board to recognize that they need to do more around diversity, equity, and inclusion, and to really identify and partner with organizations and groups that are seeking to make certain that our industry is more inclusive. So I'm going to give me just 1 second to switch over to my screen. Okay, can everyone see?
Yeah, thank you.
Terrific, terrific. So again, I'm just going to highlight some of the initiatives that we launched in 2020 and that we will be launching in 2021. So I really started BTT because when COVID hit, and this was before the George Floyd murder, but when COVID, late February, early March, the industry started to really feel the effects of COVID, where destinations and businesses were starting to shut down and travel was restricted. There were many conversations, virtual conversations on Zoom that were taking place in the industry, just to inform industry stakeholders about the data, what the research is saying about travel, how is travel being impacted, how are destinations and businesses being impacted, what are the thoughts of travelers, and what are their fears, and when do we expect travel to start to rebound and to recover. So there were numerous conversations, and I participated in many of them, but I quickly realized that there was a lack of representation. There were no Black faces or Black voices. And although there is a handful of Black CEOs and VPs that manage some of the DMOs, there just are not a lot of Black executives and leaders in travel and tourism. And so I sought out to find the few that we had and reached out to say, hey, we need to make sure that we are represented in these recovery conversations, and the industry need to see our faces and hear our voices, especially now that we are addressing racial and social injustices, where in the past, before COVID and George Floyd, it probably was not politically correct, especially by some of the Black CEOs and VPs, to really be vocal about racism or discrimination or lack of opportunities and equity for Blacks in travel and tourism. And so this is our window of opportunity, and BTT, created it as a window of opportunity to bring these voices and faces forward to the industry so that the industry could see who are the Black leaders that represent us in this space, but to also hear their voices and their experiences, so that Black small businesses and students who are pursuing education in hospitality and tourism could see representation, but also to understand, what have been some of the challenges of people who have been in the industry, but to also talk about what are some solutions to really set a pathway forward to addressing the lack of diversity, equity, and inclusion in our industry. So we started off in last June by launching a series of what we call dollar and cents webinars. And you can see some of the speakers and the topics that we covered. Actually, you can go to our website at blacksintourism.org, where all of these Zoom conversations are archived if you want to go back and listen to some really dynamic conversations that we facilitated last year. And we had quite a bit of representation and participation from the industry. We've had over 1,700 industry stakeholders domestically and internationally, representing all segments of the industry. Lots of leaders from DMOs and travel brands and media were participating. And so that was a great thing. Then, as we started to hear from a lot of the DMOs, destination marketing organizations who, were participating in our webinar series, were reaching out to say, well, we recognize we need to do a better job of DEI within our organizations, but also externally within our destinations, and really need to take a look at how we are not and can do a better job of marketing to Black travelers. And so, I teamed up with some of the top DEI consultants in the industry and said, you know what, let's come together and really create a comprehensive tool, online educational tool that we can make available to the industry to really help DMOs, their staff, their board, and others, that work in other capacities within the industry, be able to start to really understand DEI from a personal perspective, but also from an organizational perspective, and to really gain personal insights on what they can do as an individual working within an organization that may not be as diverse as it should be, but to gain some practical and tangible tips and tools for how to be inclusive leaders, how to work with multicultural audiences, and just really understanding the basics of DEI and cultural inclusiveness. So we've had over 11 DMOs enroll their teams into we call it our DEI Deep Dive Masterclass series. And so between the months of November and December, we've had over 150 enrollees. We are now in conversation with other industry brands, ASTA and TripAdvisor and other groups that all have been working since last summer to address DEI within their organizations, but they're still looking for tools that they can use, because the great thing is that they're really looking at DEI from a long-term perspective, not as let's just do this workshop and forget about it. And so, we are creating these tools to fill unmet needs within the industry, again, to help businesses advance, but also to help our industry understand and equip them with information and tools so that collectively we can start to reimagine a more diverse and inclusive industry for all. Then one of the other, when people take complete the course, they do receive a certificate of completion for our DEI Deep Dive Masterclass. And this is just a couple of the feedback that we received from some of the DMO heads that took the testimonials we received from DMO heads that took the class. Then we created the Black Tourism Talent Directory. It's an online directory that's serving as the official Black talent matchmaker for the travel and tourism industry. Through many of the conversations and meetings I've had, I have heard too often we can't find Black talent. And there is qualified Black talent in this industry, but they're just not on the radar. And so we developed this platform, again, to help match Black travel and tourism businesses, professionals, and students match with industry opportunities, whether it's employment, whether it's vendor opportunities, whether it's speaker opportunities or media opportunities and internship opportunities. We really want to create this tool for the, to be a tool for the industry so that, again, we can create more diversity and inclusion and help the industry brands that are looking to hire employees, because many of them had to cut back, but they're going to be restaffing and adding more staff. And we want to make certain that they have access to a qualified pool of Black talent in the industry, again, to hire for, their supplier needs, but also for their employment and internship needs. So we officially launched the Black Tourism Talent, the first phase of it. And now what we're doing is we're aggregating, the Black travel and tourism businesses. And this is a global platform. So it's businesses worldwide that can create free profiles on the platform, as well as if you're looking for a job, you can create a free profile, or if you are a student, you can create a free profile. And so blacktourismtalent.com, is being well received by the industry. And so, we're excited about this becoming a very useful and beneficial tool for the industry and for businesses in the industry. And then a little over a year ago, we started developing Culture on Shore. One of the other hats I wear is I am a tour operator in South Florida. And I've had this business for about 6 years, and we do cultural heritage tours in Miami, the greater Fort Lauderdale area, as well as the Palm Beach County area. And now we're going to also be moving into Orlando and really taking this tour development model that we've created to help create more Black-owned tour operators, Black and brown tour operators actually, throughout the country and other parts of the world. So Culture on Shore will be the world's first global marketplace for cultural heritage tours and activities. And again, this platform is designed so we can level the playing field for people like Rebekah. I know you're on Airbnb. We were on Airbnb too, but we didn't make money on Airbnb. Oops, sorry about that. Because, of the price points and, just some of the restrictions and requirements that they have for people who want to do tours. So we want to make certain that our Black and brown tour operators and cultural institutions can have a platform designated to them that's going to help them keep more of the profits in their pockets. But also we want to make certain that they're able to be found by a global travel audience. And to be able to partner with tour operators, large tour operators and travel advisors who want to sell and include their tour and activity experiences as part of their tour itineraries. So we'll be launching the first phase of this fall. I'm really excited about it. Again, we've gotten such great response from the industry in support of all of our initiatives. We have created some wonderful strategic partners with a lot of the major players, and I won't go through how we're working with all of them, but these are just some, and this list continues to grow every week as we have different major travel brands and associations that have reached out to partner with us to help amplify the work that we're doing. And so it's an exciting time for BTT. It's a window of opportunity for Blacks in travel and tourism to really take full advantage of the fact that the industry understands that more must be done to create a level playing field and to create equitable opportunities for Black and brown businesses to actively participate and profit in our industry. And then we've received quite a bit of press. This is some of it. Most recently, we've gotten a lot of media attention for our Black Tourism Talent Directory. But if you go to our website, you can blacksintourism.org, you can see more, of the press. And then I've been appointed to several industry, national and global boards to provide representation and to make certain that we have a voice at the table. And most often I am, providing a voice for all minority groups who don't have a seat at the table. And I'm really, proud to be able to serve on the United States Travel and Tourism Advisory Board through the Department of Commerce, Destinations International's Governance and Nomination Committee, Destinations International Global Leadership Committee, the Travel Foundation Future of Tourism Coalition Advisory Board, and most recently I've been invited to serve on a few more. So, but I'm not serving on any more boards until I complete my MBA program in May. So there's a lot of work ahead of us, and I'm looking forward, to continuing to partner with. Let me just get out of this. Looking forward to continuing to partner with. I'm sorry, I'm trying to see how to stop sharing my screen, with Kelly and Impact Travel Alliance and, the other ladies on our panel today. If you want to contact me, please reach out. I'm Stephanie at blacksintourism.org. Visit our websites. I will post our different website links in the chat that I shared. So if you are a business, a tour operator, a business, if you're looking for employment, please do take advantage of these tools that we are creating to level the playing field and to help amplify our Black and Brown businesses in the industry. So thank you for this platform, Callie.
Stephanie, thanks so much. I do not know when you sleep. The work that you do is so inspiring, and you brought up so many good points and so many great points about where we still need to improve. To your point about being on advisory councils, you should not be the only Black representation as part of those. And that's something that we really want to push for and advocate for. And I think a part of this process of looking at diversity and inclusion within the travel industry is really asking ourselves to see the unseen and say, wait a minute, that shouldn't be a lineup of only white people or only this one type of person, and pointing that out to brands and businesses and really continuing to advocate for change. And that shouldn't be on Black and Brown people to do that. That should be up to people who are already sitting at the table. So thank you so much for the work that you're doing.
Thank you.
Catarina, I am so excited to introduce you now. As I mentioned, Catarina is the co-founder of ExplorEquity. Her experience in Puerto Rico was incredible. I could not recommend it highly enough. And she's also recently launched Blindish Latina and is the creator behind that. And the work that she's doing is also so inspiring, and how she's really breaking stereotypes and really advocating for more inclusivity within the industry through her work is inspiring. So I will pass it off to Catarina.
Thank you so much. I am so appreciative of this opportunity, Kelly, and for the way that you are an ally in this space. So I am going to share my screen and tell you all about ExplorEquity. Okay, I have done not that present. Okay, so hopefully everyone can see. Okay, all right. So ExplorEquity is a sustainable travel company where we support local communities and connect travelers to real social justice issues. So we exist at this intersection of sustainable travel and social justice. Previously, we offered small group travel experiences like the one that Kelly is describing in Puerto Rico, and each experience was organized around social justice themes. For example, we hosted this trip to Puerto Rico that was focused on food sovereignty after Hurricane Maria. If you do not know this, Puerto Rico imports over 85% of its food, and there's a movement on the archipelago to produce their own food and not rely on these imports. So this trip involved farm visits, culinary experiences, historical discussions, and more. It was a beautiful and delicious experience. We also planned 2 additional group trips. So one to Honduras, which was focused on coffee and climate change. So these are some pictures. And another trip to Brazil that was focused on community-based tourism. Unfortunately, these were planned for 2020 and we had to postpone them indefinitely. So for all of our experiences, we work with locally owned businesses only to make sure that the money spent by the travelers actually benefits the local economy and doesn't leave the country. In addition to our travel experiences, we've been an ally on social media. So ExplorEquity amplifies the voices of others. We are regularly sharing content around different themes and featuring posts that are from other accounts. So our current theme is decolonization. So we've been talking about decolonizing your beauty standards, your reading, and defining what decolonization even means and what it means to decolonize your mind. We also regularly share educational blog posts on our website. Oh, here are some posts just examples of what you see on our social media page. And this is a view of our website and what's on our blog. So a little bit about me. Who am I? So I'm Catarina, if you're saying it in Spanish, and if you're saying in English, Catarina. I'm Cuban and Puerto Rican, and I'm also disabled. I live with low vision and hearing loss. So I wear hearing aids and I use a blind cane now. I started ExplorEquity with my co-founder because I love to travel. And I noticed that there were different ways to do it. The best travel experiences for me always involved deep conversations and connecting authentically with locals. I was inspired to merge my background in food justice and community organizing with this conscious travel mindset to create impactful travel experiences for other people, to also share meaningful travel experiences in community with each other. When we launched ExplorEquity, we didn't even know what sustainable travel was. Then we learned about it and realized, oh yes, we're already totally doing that. We were thrilled to see that there was a whole movement behind the concept with leaders like Impact Travel Alliance. And we shifted to calling ourselves a sustainable travel company instead of a socially conscious one. As a disabled Latina entrepreneur who is also a woman, I care about creating a company that is always values driven and has integrity. As part of my, I also care about diversity and inclusion. As part of my brand, Blindish Latina, I recently got the opportunity to share more about disabled travel and how you can be a better ally. I'm not sure if it's up on the Impact Travel Alliance blog, but there will be a blog post there with sharing tips on how you can be more inclusive of people with disabilities. And on social media, I'm always sharing best practices for accessibility, inclusion, and raising disability awareness because I see such a need. So how can people support ExplorEquity now? As I mentioned earlier, we had to stop all of our group travel experiences. And due to the pandemic, ExplorEquity has made the decision to completely change our model. Instead of offering these group travel experiences, we're pivoting to launch an online store with products and virtual experiences in partnership with community-based tourism operators and locals around the world. We're curating these products with our values in mind, and we're vetting each one. We haven't announced this publicly yet, so you're actually the first to know, and we're inviting you to shop our online store first. So this is a soft launch. It is new for us, and we're very much open to your feedback. We have some really great offerings. This is our first offering. This is a cookbook called Travel to Brazil that features recipes from across the country, and it is such a beautiful gift made with a lot of love. Another experience we have is with Chef Natalia in Mexico City, where she leads a virtual cooking class where you can learn to cook 3 different Mexican salsas. And we actually did this in person when my partner and I were in Mexico City. So we're really excited to be able to partner with her virtually. She is fantastic. We also have a partnership with Paths Crossing, which is a sustainable travel card game, and it has conversation starters. So it's a really fun game that can also be educational about sustainable travel. And the last experience that we're launching with is with an indigenous community in the Amazon rainforest in Brazil. So this is a live virtual travel experience to Brazil where you get to ask questions, connect directly with the community, and they teach you and educate you on their culture. It's a really unique experience and more products to come. So if you do have something that you're offering and you think is a good fit, we'd love to work with you and talk with you. Here is how you can connect with us. We're on Instagram as ExplorEquity. I'm on Instagram as Blindish Latina. We have a Facebook page. Our website is up to date now with our online store. So we encourage you to go and shop on there. And I hope that you enjoy. So thank you so much, Impact Travel Alliance, for this opportunity.
Thank you so much, Catarina. So I know that we are almost up with our time today. I do have a quick little wrap up that I wanted to share with everyone. If anyone has burning questions that they want to post in the chat, feel free to put those in there now. As a reminder, this event is being recorded and you will receive the recording after the event as well. So if you do have to jump off, feel free to do so, but I hope that you can stay. As I mentioned, we are doing a challenge this month for our community to support diverse-owned businesses. And really what the mission and drive behind this challenge is to take projects like what you all have learned about today and support them with your dollars, because tourism dollars, travelers control the travel industry. Whatever we're purchasing and buying is really what's going to shift and sway the way that the industry is moving. And so there's all of these opportunities for us to go out and advocate for a more diverse and inclusive industry, and do so through really interesting, immersive, and epic experiences around the world. So this is at impacttravelalliance.org/diversity. I had a couple of tips that I just wanted to share with everyone as a point of inspiration. On the left-hand side of the screen is our idea, and on the right-hand side is some submissions from our community already. So I wanted to just share these really quickly. The first idea is to participate and to support a diverse-owned, impactful business is to plan a future trip. And this is a submission from our community about whale shark Mexico. And she shared Dr. Denny Ramirez is one of the very few who researches whale sharks in the world. All of her snorkeling trips with her company support her research and conservation for the whale sharks. 100% of the funds go back into her work. And this is, for me personally, I'm definitely dreaming about future travel. Diving with whale sharks is something that I've always wanted to do. And it's also something that I know involves a good amount of research to make sure that you're doing something, that you're participating in an experience that is ethical. So now's the time to start thinking about opportunities like that, and maybe plan a trip for 2022 and think about investing your tourism dollars now. Another idea is to support an artist. We had one community member, and she purchased a sweatshirt from Oh Happy Danny, and she is an illustrator who creates positive and shareable social justice content. Oh Happy Danny has a beautiful Instagram as well that I found because of our community member who participated in our challenge. Another idea is to explore through food. And this again is to say that you don't have to spend a lot of money to make a difference. If just 500 people from our community spent $10, we would have invested $5,000 directly into diverse-owned businesses. So one of our community members went to Sunshine Vegan Eats, and she said all vegan plant-based foods have a much lower environmental impact for a variety of reasons. The restaurant also has a community focus and often hosts fundraisers, donates proceeds, and generally does great community research. This is a Black-owned business, and what's really cool about this challenge as well is that when you share with us what you're doing, we're asking you to share not only where you went, but who owns it and what their identity is. And so we know that out of the individuals who have participated in our campaign so far, 40% have been supporting Black-owned businesses. I have two food experiences because I love food, and there were too many good ones to choose from. Here's another one from Australia. Mabu Mabu is an Indigenous woman-owned and LGBTQI-owned business that features the flavors and strengths of bush foods native to Australia. This is a socially conscious organization that hires, trains, and employs people of color. Another idea is to immerse yourself in history. I mentioned the Oscar Wilde tours earlier. One of our community members shared United Street Tours, and she said that Chiquita runs United Street Tours, a Black-owned, women-led tour company that redefines and reclaims the Black experience in America, which is how I initially got connected with her. She provides educational resources about Black history and anti-racism through her Patreon. And this individual individual, she shared that she spent $7, but that's also a recurring Patreon subscription that she's opted into. And so again, you don't have to spend a lot to continue to invest in diverse-owned businesses and do so over time through really cool experiences. Last but not least, another idea is to transport yourself through armchair travel. We've had a lot of community members submit books that they have purchased. One of our members in DC went to Solid State and shared that Solid State is a local, independent, Black-owned bookstore that I really want to make it through the pandemic. In addition to stocking a diverse range of books, they also have varied programming for the community that includes author readings and signings, children's story hours, book groups, local interest panels, political conversations, and more. If you're looking for a reading list to inspire your book list, we do have an article on ITA's blog called, it has a whole list of different books to decolonize your bookshelf. And again, I just wanted to come back to this quote that I shared at the beginning and really just emphasize this point that Angela Davis so eloquently said, that you have to act like it were radically possible to change the world, and you have to do it all the time. So far, our community has invested $1,895 directly into diverse-owned businesses. This is a pretty big feat. This is the first time that we are asking our community. We announced our challenges this year. It's the first time that we're doing something like this. And we're asking you to think about what diversity means to you, find somewhere to go out and purchase something, and then come back and let us know where you went. And so there's a couple of different steps that are involved in that process. So it's been really cool to see the community responses and feedback that have come through. And I want to just share with everyone really quickly, again, impacttravelalliance.org/diversity is where you'll find all of these different ideas. Please remember to report to us where you're going. So click that little button that says take the challenge. You'll fill out this form that will allow you to tell us what type of business you're supporting and where you went and what makes it impactful. The form should be very quick. That's all of the questions. So it should be quick and easy to submit. And in doing so, you'll help us to advocate for a more diverse and inclusive industry through travel and prove that when done together, small actions speak loudly. I am going to jump back in. Amit said that this challenge should be ongoing. So it actually is ongoing. We launched it in the month of February, and we're really challenging our community to participate in the challenge in the month of February, because that puts a timeline and a deadline on it, but the challenge will be up and ongoing throughout the year. And our goal is that we'll be able to say that this is how much our community has invested in the first month, 6 months from now, 1 year from now. So I highly encourage you to participate now, because that gives us a lot more, us as ITA and an organization, a lot more ammo to go back to the industry and say, look, this is what travelers are really interested in. They really want to support diverse-owned businesses. So the more that you all are participating, the more that allows us to use this community as a platform for change. Marissa said, will you be sharing a list of all the different businesses that are submitted at the end of the month? Yes, we will be highlighting many of those. We're still working on our post-campaign, our post-February challenge campaign that will announce a lot of those. We are sharing many of them right now on Instagram as well. So if you go back a couple of posts on our Instagram, you'll see another Black-owned restaurant that one of our community members supported. So I encourage you all to look at those and to dive
Allie,
deeper.
if I can jump in quickly, we're going to make certain that we reach out to all of those businesses to make sure that they're listed on the Black Talent Tourism Directory, so that, you know, not only the Black Tourism Talent Directory can be a resource for the industry, but it can also be a resource for travelers who want to patronize and do business with Black travel and tourism businesses. So we'll make certain that they're listed. Their profiles are also listed on a directory.
Music to my ears. That is what we are all about right now, finding opportunities to go beyond learning about diversity and inclusion and actively advocate for change within the industry. I have a tradition with the events where I'm moderating that I love to leave the mic with our speakers. So I'd like to just ask each of you to turn your cameras back on. And any of you who have closing thoughts that you would like to end on today, I'd love if you wanted to share them to go ahead and do so.
Sure, I'll jump in. First, I want to say thank you again, Callie, for hosting this platform with co-boss ladies who are doing some amazing things in their space. We have to continue these conversations. We must continue to bring these voices and faces forward in the industry. And everyone who is tuned in, whatever you can do, whether it's patronizing or supporting, a Black business, just make certain however you can support, we support each other. And it could be easily by just taking information or links that we have all shared and pushing it out through your social platforms. So I thank you all, and I look forward to continuing to work in a spirit of collaboration with you all, because it's a lot of work that we need to do to really get to the level of diversity and inclusion in this industry. We can never have too much, but we have a lot of work to do, and we can get there a lot further working together. So thank you.
That's beautiful. I really appreciate this conversation. And my closing thought would be about the importance of allyship and taking action as part of allyship. It's great that we see awareness being built and more urgency around being inclusive, being diverse, and changing the systemic issues that we see in our society. A lot of times people stop at talking about it and they stop with posting something on social media. So I love this challenge that ITA has put to everybody to spend your money supporting someone who's out there, who is an entrepreneur of color, who is diverse, and supporting their work, because we need to see active allyship as part of the change. And so that's a great challenge, and I hope to see more of that. So thank you.
I want to say thank you to all the panelists and to Alliance Tourism Travel for hosting. And I forgot to mention that I am a sustainable studio, that all my material from my ribbon skirts and masks, I do save them. The scrap material, I don't throw them away. And I'm incorporating more ways to be eco-friendly, efficient. And I learned a lot today just from this presentation, and I wouldn't mind, sharing the challenge like on my Airbnb participants and on my socials, just to get more people aware of the challenge, because I find it really great. And I just wanted to say hi, kita también, anaskabun. Everybody have a good day.
Thank you all so much. Thanks to all of our attendees for coming today, and thanks to each of our speakers. The work that you each do is so inspiring, and I'm so grateful to be surrounded by fellow female entrepreneurs in the travel industry. Have a great day, everyone.